So it's that time of year again. I don't need this stupid hat. And as we approach the end of another year, it can only mean one thing. It's time to talk about the best watch releases of 2023. Now, I'm going to tell you some of my favourite watch releases from the last 12 months. But as it's Christmas, I thought I'd invite a few friends along, some of whom I'm sure you'll recognise. And they're going to talk about theirs. So stick around to the end of the video for that. Some of these guys told me they'd also been invited to do something similar by some guy called Teddy. I really don't know who he is. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Simon and I mostly talk about watches. And if you like watches too, then hit that subscribe button. And if you're a returning viewer, then thanks for supporting the channel for another year. Thanks for all your likes and comments. It really does mean a lot. So I don't know about you, but I don't think that 2023 has been what you'd call a stellar year in terms of new watch releases. I mean, it's not really surprising because most of the brands work 2 to 3 years in advance. I mean, some of them already know what they're going to be releasing in 2025. But of course, 3 years ago, something happened that basically shut everything down for 6 to 12 months and created major global supply chain issues that some industries and brands are still feeling the impact of. And that's why I think we've seen so many of the big brands make small and incremental changes to some of their popular flagship models over the last 2 years, kind of in the way that Rolex usually does. And we've seen very few new and truly innovative models. Take Omega, for example. Early in the summer, they put out a teaser that made everyone think we were going to get a new Seamaster Diver 300, whereas what they actually released was a new blue gradient dial option for each of its dive models. With all that said, there were a few new releases that really got me excited, like the Zenith Defy Revival Shadow that was released at Watches and Wonders at the end of March. This 37mm beauty is a reissue of the Defy from the 1960s, but with a modern microblasted titanium case and a 4 Hz movement with 50 hours of power reserve. I just love that matte grey case and that retro styling, so much that this is one of the models on my shortlist to add to the collection in 2024. Though, while the ladder bracelet is faithful to the original, it's not my favourite thing. So if I do pick it up, I'll probably put it on a strap. Another of my favourite releases from Watches and Wonders was the Tudor Black Bay 54. Coincidentally, like the Zenith, this also has a 37mm case. I mean, 2023 was definitely the year for smaller watches. While on the face of it, similar to the ever-popular Black Bay 58, the 54 has a cleaner, pared-back design to the bezel, and it's probably the closest we're ever going to get to that holy grail for Tudor fans, the original Tudor Submariner, the 7922, from 1954. Then there was a Bulova Oceanographer GMT, another release based on a vintage model, the Devil Diver from the 1960s, so called because it had 666 feet of water resistance, 666, the number of the devil. Get it? I love this one with the monochrome dial and the grey rubber strap, particularly as the whole dial is loomed and it lights up in bright green after dark, in complete contrast to how it looks during the day. So you get the heritage of the Devil Diver, a 41mm case, 200 meters of water resistance, that loom dial, and it's a GMT, all for just over $1,000, which I think is crazy value. Now, another of my favourite releases from 2023 that's a direct rival for this is the Tissot Sideral. Based on the Sideral S from 1971, the new Sideral has a similar shaped case to the Oceanographer, and it's also 41mm, but this one's made from forged carbon. And in my view, anything made in forged carbon is just super cool. While the Oceanographer has the GMT complication, this one's just a three-hander, but it uses Swatch Group's Powermatic 80 movement, so it's got 80 hours of power reserve, as well as 300 meters of water resistance. and the price point is mega at under $1,000. But while we've looked at a few releases that I think offer incredible value and fall within my budget, what if we were to dream for a minute and pretend that money's no object? In which case, on my shopping list, this is not going to be popular, would be the HUBLOT Square Bang Unico in white ceramic. With that Unico movement, which is 4 Hz and has a 72-hour power reserve, combined with that open word dial and white ceramic case, I think it's just a killer combination. And white has such a great vibe in both summer and winter. I like white watches, as you can probably tell, but while this Tissot PRX has an RRP of around £300, the HUBLOT will set you back closer to £30,000. But as money's no object, then another one of my favourite releases from this year has got to be that Bulgari Octo Finissimo Carbon Gold Perpetual Calendar. This thing is ultra thin at just 7.6 millimeters thick. It even sounds wrong to use the word thick in that sentence. The whole thing, including the bracelet, is made from forged carbon, which is super cool, remember? And I love the contrast between the matte grey look of the carbon and these rose gold accents on the dial. And it's a perpetual calendar with 60 hours of power reserve. The downside, well, it is $100,000. But that's a mere snip compared to the new MB&F HM11 Architect, released at Dubai Watch Week last month. Like all MB&Fs, most people would probably think this thing is crazy. Crazy in its design, crazy in the way it works, and in the price, at $230,000. But my god, it's cool. The design is based on the futuristic architecture of the 1960s, and it represents a house with 4 rooms or pods, each of which houses a function. One displays the time, one has a power reserve indicator, one has a mechanical thermometer, and the 4th has a crown for setting the time. But the coolest feature, in my opinion, is that to wind it, you literally rotate the whole watch head. They're only making 50 pieces, 25 with a blue base plate, and 25 in rose gold. So, Santa, if you're listening, buddy, you better be quick. So while those are some of my favourite releases from the past year, I asked some friends to tell me theirs, and what they'd like to see in 2024.
Hi, Simon. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on. My favorite watch of the year came from JLC, I think. It was an unexpected source for me. I actually saw it released at Watches and Wonders, and while there were, more complicated watches than the Reverso Tribute Chronograph, which was my favorite, I couldn't believe that they had released it. I was so impressed with JLC, with the showing. The entire experience that they had created in Geneva was amazing. Everyone was talking about JLC, and that's not the norm. I know a lot of us watch folks are always trying to push JLC into the conversation because we know they're so great, but it was just amazing to see them get the kind of mass credit that they did. It's offered in steel and rose gold. I naturally prefer it in rose gold, and I think it's priced really appropriately. I think it's really a no-brainer watch. What am I looking forward to this next year? Piaget. I'm looking forward to a rebirth of the brand. I don't think that the Polo was the answer. I don't think it was a silver bullet. It may have been a decent tactic, but I'm looking forward to seeing Piaget really revive what made them so successful to begin with, which was their ultra-decadent perspective on the world. I think the world is ready for a Piaget rebirth. I think in limited quantities to start, sure, but I think the world is ready. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on. Great job to JLC, and best of luck to Piaget. Ciao.
Hello, my name is Andrew McUtchen. I'm the founder of Time and Tide and one of the 3 amigos at AboutEffingTime. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope you're having the most festive and brilliant time ever. Escapement 24, thank you for this invitation. And thank you for the hint every time I posted this watch, a little nudge to say, hey, we're doing a best of. Would you like to be part of it? Maybe you'd like to bring this, the HUBLOT Big Bang 42 Unico in white ceramic. This is a watch that I fell for deeply on this summer fling I had with this watch in Ibiza and in Spain. It was just the summer of my dreams. And I said this on About Effing Time, a white ceramic watch in summer is such a vibe. And it was a vibe that I just did not want to let go of. Look at this watch up close. Now, what I've done is I've changed it from its white and black rubber strap, which I've kept just over here. There it is. This is the strap that it came on. And when I went and purchased this watch at the Hublot boutique in London, I immediately spotted this white rubber strap with an olive green topside. And of course, that olive khaki color is one I love and wear the most. So to see it potentially giving me another element to this watch, I did not hesitate. So this watch, 42 millimeters, again, not a slim watch. It's a very sporty chronograph. It's a Unico movement, which is a manufacturer Hublot flyback chronograph, which is, I suppose, in the Hublot story, that's when the brand started to really get momentum and started to push to be taken seriously as a manufacturer, as well as just this power brand that came in and really turned over the tables and did things differently from a branding point of view. You know, Hublot came in and started sponsoring sports that had never had watches involved in them before. Now, the side profile is one of these things I talk about the most. I'll put it back on so you can see. But the side profile of this watch is where I really fell in love. It has the nickname, the Stormtrooper. And as you can see there, this is an angle you see a lot. And I just find that mid case in black with the white ceramic bezel and matte. So it's a gloss, like a really high polished white ceramic bezel, and then a sort of a matte ceramic lugs and case there. Really interesting contrast. Super fun watch. And look, when it comes down to it, it's the feeling a watch gives you when you wear it. And it's how long does that new watch excitement last? And I have to say, there's something so fresh, and I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit dangerous and provocative to wear a white ceramic Hublot. Dangerous in the real sense in London, but also it just flies in the face of what so many watch lovers wear. I get a kick out of that every time I put it on. Thanks again, Escapement24, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Simon, for giving me the opportunity. My top 5 actually are kind of a little bit different. One of them is the Second Timex collaboration. That was a knockout this year, and it was something that it was almost like Pokemon. I wanted to collect them all. Our Frank Muller Snoopy, I was really, really pleased that we did this. This was an amazing end to our year. Tag Heuer glass box. The Carrera is back. 60 years of the Carrera, and the glass box is back. That, for me, was an amazing thing this year. So that was one of those watches that I was like, yes, great, this is awesome. One of my favorites was at Watches and Wonders, and it was the Black Tie from Piaget. What an amazing watch, an amazing evening watch, and something new and something creative from this year. So I was really, really pleased to see that. Last but not least is the Chopard Bamford Desert Racer. I spent X amount of time in the Mexican desert racing with this watch on my wrist, and I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing watch to launch this year, and it was so great working with Chopard again. So I hope I've given you my top 5 that you like too. Thank you very much.
Simon, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of this video. In my humble opinion, one of the best watch releases of 2023 wasn't from a big brand, rather from a micro. This is a brand new watch by D. Sanders Horology. They're calling this a Voyage GMT. I recently reviewed this watch, and let me tell you, this is a beautiful looking watch. It uses the automatic TMI NH34 movement by Seiko. Of course, it gives us that GMT functionality. The watch measures in at 40 millimeters, is 47 millimeters from lug to lug, 14 millimeters thick. Of course, sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, crazy lume with BGW9, and I mean, the dial's amazing. It's beautiful. I highly recommend this model. They do offer 2 variations, a rose gold, stainless steel, but yeah, this would be honestly the watch to look out for. Now, as far as what my wishes are for the watch industry as a whole in 2024, I feel like watches are becoming very expensive, and I really hope prices would come down to make them a little more attainable. Also, Tudor, please release a sub 40mm Pepsi GMT. I'll be all over that. Merry Christmas to you all. Don't forget the reason for the season, and stay humble, my friends.
Hi everyone, Watches with Abdullah here. The watch that excited me the most has to be the H. Moser MB&F Pandemonium. For me, this watch acts as a blueprint of good collaborations. It showed us the heights that watch brands can go to when creating something with a good intent, meaning not just for the sake of marketing, but also for the sake of creating something truly special. It's not just a technically superior product that's done beautifully, but it carries a human message that resonates with all of us. That for me makes this the perfect blueprint that watch brands need to follow for future collaborations. I'm looking at you, AP. Now, what would I like to see in 2024? I guess I would like to see the revival of Breguet. Think about this. The reason why independents have suddenly blown up is not just because they're doing cool stuff. It's because they are good at communicating what they're doing with the right people. Thanks for having me, Simon, and happy holidays to everyone.
Simon, thank you so much for having me on the channel this year. I'm incredibly touched and honored. I feel it's been an amazing year for watches. It's been a great few years, but this year, 2023, has been particularly spectacular. So highlights for me, the ground up redo of the Ingenue from IWC was incredibly well executed. I thought the Strike 1 from Chopard is an amazing watch, And the 1860 LUC 36-ish millimeter steel case salmon dial, that was a showstopper this year. What would I love to see next year? I'd love to see a 222 outside of yellow gold, maybe a platinum or a white gold. I'd love to see a smaller case size, time only, no date overseas. And I'd love to actually see continued movement from AP into the Code 1159 in the 38 millimeter case size. I think that would be really interesting, maybe with some interesting dial executions. Anyway, have a wonderful festive period, everyone. Thanks for having me on, and to 2024. Go well.
It was really great to hear from those guys, but this isn't a one-way conversation. So now it's over to you. I'd love to know what your favorite watch release was of 2023. So let me know in the comments. I can't wait to read them. All that remains is for me to wish you a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, however you celebrate it and wherever you are. Have a good one, guys. I look forward to bringing you more videos in 2024.